3.5 weeks into the early access period, and we are getting hit with yet another sizable dev update. This is early access update 4 on April 25th. First, some general things. 5 new volcanic arena islands. Thus, he's removing the reused tropical islands from the volcanic biome. Previously, there were a couple arenas that were clearly just tropical biome arenas, but instead of water, that's lava. Instead of like bright and sunny, it's just like dark and gloomy. You know, it was always a placeholder, so they're finally getting renewed and updated, and these new ones are pretty nice. You can also now interact with the key totem even after unlocking everything at the start of a run to get a random piece of loot, and it's minimum of epic rarity. So remember, you spend 3 keys at the totem and you get new epic and legendary loot items that are permanently added to your loot pool, and then you also just get to take them into your run, and it's really cool. But after you unlock everything, you couldn't do that anymore. You would just stockpile keys, and it was like, what do we do now? Now you can just keep doing that over and over again. You've already unlocked the items, but you still just get to have an item into your run. Pretty fun. And then we get a bunch of new perks, and most of them are melee related. Actually, all of them are. We've got critical claws, that's melee crit damage. That made sense. We had criticals for weapons and grenades. Now we have melee. We've got blender. Melee cooldowns are reduced, so the time between melees. We've got a new perk as well called Iron Claws, where your damage is increased, but your cooldown is also increased, so a little bit of a positive and a negative there. And a greed perk related to melee called Brawler, where melee damage is greatly increased, but weapon damage is reduced. If you remember critical thinking, it's a similar situation here. Critical thinking increases your critical damage, but decreases your non-critical damage, so you better have a really strong, high critical chance here. Now, you better be running melee build, or else your normal weapon is going to be kind of doo-doo. And finally, holding down melee in general is like full auto. You know, it's like swipe. You know, it's a solid 2 seconds or something like that, but it is technically full auto, and, you know, you can stack blender a lot, and maybe it becomes pretty crazy. Then we move into the balance changes. Increase the minigun chance-based mods trigger chance by 33%, so buffed the overall chance of certain things happening with the minigun across the board by a third. That felt kind of right. Minigun's fire rate is crazy, but even then, you know, starting off with like 5 to 10% chance of some of these things at the beginning, even lower at times, it just felt pretty underpowered, and definitely made the minigun not quite as good as it should have been, or as it was before that change to the elemental perks. A lot of the stuff from Dev Update 3, right? Time shot damage has been increased from a 50% boost to 100%, continuing to buff time shot. Time shot still feels odd. It just feels underpowered, but hopefully this finally brings it up to a point where people actually use it. Tony's Black Card, which is that shop discount, now only 8% per level instead of 15. It was a little bit overpowered. Gold dice chance increase reduced from 50 to 20. So when you picked up gold dice, this is a new perk that split from green dice. You would increase the chance of any chance-based thing. So if something had a 50% chance to happen, then you had an additional 50% of that 50, it would go to 75, right? 50 to 75. Well, now it's only 20%, so it would go from 50 to 60. Blocker skulls and regular skulls are now a lot larger. They are indeed larger. I appreciate this one. They were very sneaky, especially the speedy little blocker skulls. Remove the random spread of sniper crab shots. Remember, he added that little exclamation point above their head, like showing that they're about to shoot. But then he also made the spread kind of crazy, and they don't really hit their shots anymore. Now they hit their shots again. Rig Totem's chance is now only a 10% buff instead of a 25% buff. Regenerator heals for 1 health every second for 30 seconds. Well, he has now buffed it a lot, and now it says the heal amount's doubled, so the base would be 2 every second, and the duration is now 30 to 45. So instead of a total heal of 30 at level 1, you now have a total heal of 90 at level 1. Much nicer. I really never picked up Regenerator once he moved to this 30 seconds max strategy with it. It used to be like way back in the closed beta, it was infinite. You could sit there in a corner for 4 minutes and regain health the entire time. Once he added the countdown and the max duration, kind of nerfed it into the ground. So I like this change a lot. Mace shot cooldown goes from 6 to 4 seconds. The projectiles bounce less, but they also don't expire when hitting enemies. Therefore, they're going to have pierce. So in general, he's saying it should be more useful. I agree. Mace shot is pretty weak for an epic weapon mod, but I do tend to grab it with like the sniper or the rocket. And finally, last balance change. I think I told him about this one, but I'm sure other people have said it too. The grub slam attack was just, the radius was massive. He's brought that down a little bit. It feels a little bit more fair. After playing a lot tonight, it does feel more fair. I mean, sometimes you would see the grub go for the slam. You would turn around, try to double jump away, and it would still hit you when you were, I don't know, 10, 15 feet away. It was ridiculous. So big thumbs up to that one. All right, now into some quality of life things. We've got a handful of things that I actually agree with for the most part. For example, combo is no longer lost when opening a spike chest. Now remember, in a previous update, he introduced different combo mods, and your combo is a score multiplier that gets reset when you take damage. But if you had armor, that would kind of help it, right? You would have to lose your entire armor before that damage actually broke the combo. Unless, of course, you had a spike chest, then it just completely forgot that you have armor because spike chest takes health, right? It ignores the armor, and it would break the combo anyway. Kind of a cheap little thing, so we fixed that. That's super nice. High Roller no longer removes key chests, even if other reward chests are removed. This is a greed perk that starts at level 1, a 2/3 chance to get double reward chests, 1/3 chance to get none. Now, even if you get none, on like an elite or a boss island, you'll still at least get the key chest. Added a new weapon effect graphics settings, and this is where it really kicks in. Being able to turn these things down. You're not gonna melt your computer. You're gonna be able to go on longer runs without your eyes bleeding. I'm over exaggerating, but am I? Super bright colors, and they only got worse as you stacked and leveled things up, and the effect got stronger. So did the visual effect on screen. So now there's a weapon effect graphic setting that you can turn to minimal, which will help performance in general, and especially on longer runs and lower end computers, gonna help you out a ton with your frames per second. The maximum limit of held crystals is now, I'm guessing, 4.2 billion. This got to be double the int limit. I'm not sure how he did that, but there's no longer resetting. I mean, there's a lot of int limit things that happen in Unreal Engine 4 and that happen in Crampions. It seems like he's learning ways to get around that or increase it, so that's good. Camera shake from explosions is now an additional graphical setting. If you throw a grenade at your feet, it would go, you know, camera shake. You turn that off. I turned that off instantly. I don't like camera shake in video games. Moving on here, totems that drop loot now spread the loot in a wider radius to prevent loot from overlapping. So this is a similar change to when you drop your own items. If you spam drop everything out of your inventory, back in the day, in closed beta, it would just all like sit in one pile and become like a giant glowing ball. Which was cool to look at, but you had no idea what you were going to pick up. Like, you just had to spam pick it up. And then now, if you drop, things spread out. But for some reason, totems don't do that. Now it's going to spread out. That's really nice. Autosaves now save the island reward type, challenge modifier, blessing, combo, etc. when continuing runs. That's pretty nice. So remember, if you quit to lobby, you'll go back in on the 1st or 6th island of your biome that you're on. So if you left it on island 18, you'll go back at 16. If you left it 14 or 15, you'll go back at 11. But it would reset just to a basic damage loot portal type, even if it should have been a spike chest or a health chest or whatever. Back to the bullet effect stuff, he optimized some effects so the late game runs, such as arc shot and split shot, are not as taxing on performance. This is a huge one. Split shot and arc shot are arguably some of the best weapon mods in the game, if not the top 2, top 3, they're maybe both top 5, and they just added lag. You just simply lost frames when you get to a high island and you get a high percentage. You stack these a lot so that 80% of your shots are arc shots and 80% of your shots are splitting, and sometimes they split on each other. So like a split shot takes 1 shot, goes to 4, and then of those 4 shots, they could also split a second time. It just lagged. So optimization here, massive win. And finally, this one I'm actually taking 100% full responsibility. Energy ring destructible rocks no longer have an actual explosion, just the ring. There was a time, I feel like, I don't know if this is how it used to be, but a while ago in the beta, you could melee these things from above them and like you just wouldn't get hurt. Or if you jumped a little bit, you wouldn't get hurt. There was no like vertical explosion. And then like recently I noticed it was happening a lot. And I was like, hey, is that supposed to be there? And he's like, I'll probably change that in a DM. And then he changed it. So that's really nice. You can literally stand on an energy ring rock, melee it, shoot it, whatever. It'll explode the ring, but that's outward. It will not hit you. So that's cool. Now onto the last main section. We got some bug fixes, the fun, nitty gritty, goofy stuff. Fixed an issue that caused keybinds to reset every single time the game got launched. Also fixed an issue that prevented the inventory UI from being navigatable on controllers. I did see this. Sometimes people on stream redeem the just controller. I just have to play with controller for like 5 minutes or whatever. 5 islands, I don't know, something like that. And I was like, I like literally didn't know how to use my inventory. Fixed an issue that would cause very high damage numbers to appear as negative 1 billion damage. Again, this is the int limit thing. So he has clearly figured out a way to move past that to some extent. Fixed issue that would cause continuing runs saved on the Arctic biome. It would use tropical biome islands. We ran into this a few times on stream and doing some co-op runs. Very odd. It would be like a weird hybrid between an Arctic biome and tropical biome. Perks that increase damage will now correctly affect time shot and time bolt. Yeah, that was another reason the time shot was bad. It's like time shot's damage should also increase, and it just wasn't. So time shot was like literally just like screwing over builds, and apparently time bolt was too. So those are going up. That's nice. Made several more potential fixes for enemies spawning underground and getting stuck. These are always little nitpicky things that some people run into. The streamer loot perk now only affects chests as intended. It was previously affecting every loot drop in the world, which was unbalanced. So streamer loot increases your chance of higher rarity loot by a significant amount, and now it only affects your reward chests at the end of islands. Improve some chest spawn locations that were spawning on edges of cliffs and on trees, on rocks, all that stuff. Fixed an issue where the inventory UI could be shown in the game over screen or when spectating in an invalid state. That's weird. I did not run into that, but seems like an annoying thing, so good that he's fixing it. The list of joined players now correctly updates when a new player joins the lobby. And finally added a missing animation when firing the left dual pistol. I never noticed anything there, but hey, more the merrier. Finally, he has a couple more cool things to shout out. He did an awesome hour-plus long interview with Wooly Gaming. Wooly is an awesome content creator who does a lot of variety stuff and has been liking Crab Champions a ton, so definitely go check that out. But you really get a good backstory on Noisestorm, how he even got into creating game stuff and kind of the origins of the game, and just learn more about him as a person. It's really cool. And then there's another community wiki site going up by Meep. I'll show that off here real quick. It's got all the weapon mods and perks. This is Meeps. He streams as well as does content, and a link to buy the game right from here. And then all the perks categorized by the type. So like, let's say I want to look at toxic. Boom, there it is. The description, the details, including the scaling, the weight, tags, the actual percentages. And we got that for all the different items in the game. There are over 225 weapon mods, grenade mods, and perks in the game currently, and as we saw today, only more and more being added. Definitely check out these different resources if you are interested in learning more. So yeah, that's all I got. Another fantastic update. Listen, this is month 1. We're coming in on the last few days, and we have 4 legitimate, sizable, meaty updates so far. Noisestorm continuing his just amazing track record of keeping open communication with the community, listening to the feedback, and improving on the game continually. Every update better than the last. Every build of the game better than the last. It's only going up from here. There's a reason why this game exploded, hit the ground running, and is continuing to run fast. Horrible analogy, but you get the point. The game's doing well. There's a reason for it. Cannot wait to see where this game's at, even another couple months down the road. I mean, hell, we get to like summertime, it's going to be insane. If you like the video, please consider liking the video. Subscribe to my channel. I am going to be your #1 source for Crab Champions content forever, I hope. And please consider checking out the Twitch streams, twitch.tv/TheeFURNAS. We're streaming very often, doing really cool challenge runs, and all the different gameplay that you see here on the channel on YouTube is 99.99% coming from stream recordings. So if you want to see the action uncut, that's where you're going to do it. That's all I got. Have a good one. Peace.